Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. I love this opening video that we do. It's so good. It makes me so happy.
Mhm.
I was air dancing while it was playing. It was so fun. Welcome, welcome, everybody, to New Earth Rising. We're so happy you're here during this time when the new earth is rising and it's coming through us in so many different ways. And Sharon and I are so excited to be here to share what we know and what we understand about all this stuff. And today we're talking about our galactic heritage. And Sharon and I have a lot of experience with that. So we're going to be sharing our experiences, our insights, and hoping to open up some of your memories. Many of us have memories that have been maybe repressed. We come in into this third dimensional realm and have that veil of forgetfulness and stuff. But part of this time we're living in is the revelation, is the inner revelations of who we are in this great galactic dance that we're in. So I'm so excited. And Sharon, as always, my co-shenanigator, I'm so happy to hear this is going to be good. I've really been looking forward to today's show.
Oh, me too. As always, Michelle, we always have some really good stuff that we talk about and share. And hello, Barbie. Thank you for being here.
Is
Uh,
Barbie here? Good
Barbie's
girl.
here. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And well, as anyone who knows me, galactic stuff is pretty much one of my very favorite topics. And as we remember who we are as a star being, it it just all puts things in perspective, doesn't it? It starts to make sense.
Totally.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited to be sharing what we've come to know about ourselves and what we believe to be true for at this point in time. I always say in this point in time, you know,
Right? It's so true.
it can change at any moment. But we have pulled in and we're docked in our spacecraft here um, above the Earth, but not too far above, so that we can bring our insights in and sit here and talk with you in that space of being within our spaceship. But don't worry, we do have people that are flying the ship or holding the ship in place. Yeah,
It's
for
Elon.
us.
He
You
it's our friend Elon Musk. He said that he would come in and do
you
that.
can have him. Okay. I don't know if he can be on two ships unless he's cloned, and he could have another
and
Elon.
and
I'm
there's
sure
a
we do.
really good possibility he's
Yeah,
cloned.
yeah. I think we all have clones. I really do. And that's, a topic that we can talk about, but I remember
Yep.
being told I have clones. And as my memories start coming to the surface about space programs and things like that, because 20 years ago, I'm like, how can I talk about this? That's when I was told by the extraterrestrials, and as my memories were coming up, how in the world can I talk about it? And I started getting all that real paranoid feeling. And as you go
Yeah.
through your spiritual journey, you might feel paranoid about things. That's one of the levels I've learned that we go through, thinking, oh gosh, they're listening in my emails. I can't use the word clone that, and we
Yeah.
know now that we are being spied on, but I can't use the word clone. That'll trigger
You weren't being
things.
paranoid, you just knew things.
I just knew. Yeah. In my phone conversations, I can't say clone, so
Yeah,
um
it's crazy.
and so now people are talking about it, and I'm like, yes, I knew this 20 years ago. I just wonder how many clones I have out there.
Not enough.
Yeah,
And they need to get over here and clean the house and do my laundry and
exactly.
massage my feet.
Yeah.
What we need to know right now. I apologize. I am sharing this out to my Facebook. I
Okay.
started doing, I started connecting Restream to the Facebook, and I realized on Facebook, and it was our last show, Sharon, that some people couldn't see the chat from the Facebook.
Well,
So
you can
what I
highlight. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and we will do that. But what I realized is if I share from YouTube once we're live, share from YouTube over to the Facebook, then they go to the YouTube. when they
Oh, I didn't know
they go
that.
to
Okay.
YouTube. Yep, it's another new restream epiphany. I've
It's fun to share the chat though on the main screen.
yeah, and we can do that.
Before while you're doing that, maybe I can read this passage and
Yes, please do.
okay, so I've
Please.
shared before that I'm reading the Yeshua letters. Highly, highly
Mm,
recommend it.
so good.
If you're into Yeshua. And you know, and then this is makes way for the bigger book, The Way of Mastery. It's kind of a Course in Miracles on steroids. I understand. I haven't got past the first page in that book because it's so profound. Um, but I was reading I've got this much left. I've read this much so far. It's one of
Wow.
those studies that sometimes you have to read things over, like the Law of One, and A Course in Miracles. Okay,
Well,
which
and you read really fast too. So, and you've been working on this one for a while.
yes, I have. And I finished the other book I was reading. I was reading another book called 20 and Back about a gentleman who wrote about his
Ooh,
experiences in the
we're going to
secret
be
cities.
talking about that today.
Yeah, I read that. But he says it's fiction, but on the back of it, he says it's not. So who knows?
It is fiction. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, totally. Okay, so this is a transcription or a message that Yeshua gave JM because he would appear to him and give him messages, and he told him, "You're going to write a book. You need to write a book." And he resisted, 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 resisted. So this was July 19th, 1988. This is when he was contacting him or with him. And he always starts with, "Now we begin. Beloved brethren, you who linger on the edge of light, believing yet that darkness is your home, allow me to speak to you in this treasured moment, which, by the way, is not in time. Time is a measure of illusion. What is real is always beyond time. Again, I would share with you that if you would penetrate the veil of your experience and find within it that which can set you free, you must go always to your feelings. For the thoughts you hold are either the products of other minds, held in the bondage of darkness, or are born of your own insistence on the truth of circumstance. Never are you apart from the kingdom, save by your clearly free choice. Contemplate this one truth deeply. When you come to trust the Father's will for you, all doubt about your experience will be forever banished. Do not doubt this. Yet I would share with you that there are no roadmaps. You are your path home. It is thus that guidance is an art requiring the greatest tenacity. Since you are constantly creating your experience, my guidance is given simply because you have asked for it. Now ponder this. My life among you was nothing more than your very own. My experience at that time is wholly yours, for the Son is indeed one. See then that Yeshua is not and was not apart from you, but is a part of you. It cannot be otherwise. I give you no specific instruction relative to the experience you create, nor shall I. It is not my purpose. My purpose is to guide you on this, the last part of your journey. When you have come to where I am, capital letters, it will be completed and a new one will emerge. I will lead you beyond all shadows once and for always, the shadows you know well. This day, remember that you are the only begotten Son and that nothing matters save the remembrance of me, capital. Beyond all appearances, this alone is the only experience truly occurring for you, as well as everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's true. You know it. It's just, it's what we're coming into, even as we're beginning to realize just the small little truths of, we're living in an illusionary world and everything is connected. And as we expand our minds out, we are all one,
Mhm.
and for him, that, wow, that
Yeah.
makes sense, that
Yeah.
his journey was our journey, that we were with him, we were him on this journey, and no wonder so many of us have such a deep, profound connection
Right.
to that whole thing.
Yeah, and when we feel we walked with him, we did. We did. And
Yeah,
it's not from the perspective of certain bodies.
yeah.
Yeah.
We walked as him and
As him.
Mother Mary and the disciples and Mary Magdalene and the townspeople and Pontius Pilate and the Romans and the Jewish leaders. Wow, the chills. We were all of them all in the same place. That's
Yeah.
profound.
Yeah. Yeah. And what brought that message on is the gentleman who he's speaking to, whose name is Mark in this book. He started out as Mark, and he went to a channel to ask, "Is this really real? Am I really, am I crazy? Am I going crazy?" That kind of thing. And the channel came through. It was a channel he trusted, um, and the channel came through with. He didn't really ask him the question, "Is this real?" uh, he needed guidance, and he said, and he what came through with, Yeshua, you are Yeshua, and he is you, and that blew his mind, and he couldn't handle that. He's like, "What do you mean?" So this is, he went through that journey of, and he was, and he was spiritual. He was he practiced yoga all the time. He was vegan. He did all that kind of stuff in that new age world. But he couldn't accept the concept that he is, that Yeshua is giving him now, in these dictations, in these conversations. It was difficult for him. Yeah.
And it is, and we still, the it's our minds that keep us in the illusion, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so
Certain
programmed for the
programs.
illusion to
Mhm.
be in the illusion, to function in the illusion. And when we begin to get truths like that, like I had that experience of all the angels and masters and all that I call upon turning to me with my face and coming in and becoming me. And when
Yeah.
I did my psilocybin, and I
You
was
can say
just,
it out loud. Scream it. Scream
I
it.
don't know if YouTube likes that stuff. Um,
Oh, I'm sure they're okay with that.
Expanded out, and I was told you are the creator and the creation.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're talking. But it takes a while for this to wrap around that
Mhm.
and to immerse yourself and integrate that while we're still functioning in the illusion, right?
Right.
Ooh, that was good. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we're so much more. We're so much more. And I'm actually teaching a class this weekend on Saturday. It's called Meet the 12th Dimensional Angels, and it's actually
Mm.
working with those really high angels. And that's the same kind of messages they're bringing. It's like, you are us,
Right.
right? You are
Right.
us. We are you. But this little doot, 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 our linear thinking, but we're getting there.
But that's okay. We came here to experience that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so
Absolutely.
now and that's the fun of it. Now we're waking up to it.
Yeah. And
Right?
to move through that, to have that experience of awakening, because there are so many realities that is just kind of coming through right now. There's so many realities that as we're doing this, that are also doing this, who are preparing to go through this, and that we are all a part of. And as we awaken to this and begin to peel back these layers of separation, of non-unity, of linear thinking, of everything, it's happening everywhere at once, especially in light of we're all one.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
I like what Miss Jewel says, "Medicinal fungi?" Question mark. Yes, you would say it's that. Yes.
Maybe.
I finally watched, what's that documentary, fungi, uh,
Yes.
Fantastic Fungi.
Yes. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but yes. I mean, I know a couple um, mycologists and I guess they're called mycologists and a shaman. So they had already told me about it and explained some of the concepts of the truth about fungi.
Yeah.
Yeah, great doc. Yeah, totally.
And talk
And
about a consciousness of oneness.
right,
Because fungi is a part of everything,
they were here before us. They
way before us.
way yes because of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're them and they are us. Yeah.
And we are all together.
Speaking of which, let's talk about our galacticness.
Let's do. Let's talk
Yeah.
about our galacticness. You can start.
Okay.
And just go ahead and start that off. I do want to tell everybody, I was telling Sharon earlier, on a few little medications. I a lot of you know that I have issues with pain. I have a hip injury. And I was having some really bad pain the last couple of months. So I finally went went to the medical and am on some things that are helping with that. And so I'm a little goofy. So
No, medicinal fungi?
no, but I'm thinking I might need to figure out how to get me some of that because that might help.
Do you have any clinics in California? We do in Oregon.
It's illegal.
Oh,
It's illegal
it'll
here.
I can't believe it in California.
I know. We do everything else.
Well, that's one good thing about Oregon is they're on the forefront of making all kinds of stuff legal.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff,
it's
yeah.
important, especially that. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, Miss Jules goes cuckoo, cuckoo. That's perfect.
Well, yeah, so, we'll give you leeway, Michelle. At least you didn't, like I did in my uh, last live stream, sit there and talk with my cohort for 15 minutes and didn't push the live button, thinking that we're live, okay? And I don't have any excuse for that. No, no,
No meds, no fungi,
sort of,
nothing.
yeah, meds or anything.
I love it. You know, it happens. When you do live, you always stay open to all these crazy things that can happen.
15 minutes, yeah, that was crazy. Um, but, we that's what we need to learn. And
Yeah.
I always hand it over to you, Michelle, that you are, the master at Restream for sure. So, you got it
Oh,
going on with Restream.
hey, thank you. And you're the one that introduced me to it. So
Uh,
it's
I
we've
just
got a
wasn't
big circle of love, a restream love going on here.
yeah, yeah, I just wasn't using it to its abilities like you are. Okay, our galacticness, our galactic heritage, as I understand it at this point in time, is that billions of years ago, or thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years ago, our planet um, is and still is a beautiful tropical paradise,
Yeah.
and the reptilian races uh, came here first, is what I understand. Okay,
Ooh.
yeah. Um, and decided that this is their planet. That's why they still say this is their planet, right? Uh,
Yeah, reptiles
they're
like
gone.
that tropical setting, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. And so uh, they were here for a while. The higher human-like beings decided that they were not taking care of this planet and they wanted to start an experiment. So they kicked them off the planet and seeded the planet with their DNA. With I don't know if it was the 22 or but a few of the ET races. Okay.
And like the humanoid ones,
Yeah,
right?
the humanoid.
Like would
Yes.
have been like the
And
Pleiadians, Lyrans.
Lilian, well, yes. This was I understand before.
Or
Well, this was
even
after the
before
Galactic
that.
Wars. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't talk about that yet, did I? So
There's a lot.
yeah, that goes farther back. And I have a lot of memory of that. Now those are the Draco. Okay. I mean, when you're talking in thousands and thousands of years, it's kind of hard to put it on a calendar
Yeah,
and putting
it
in
is.
linear time,
It
in linear
is.
uh, time sense. So, so they also see, and I have memory of seeing this planet. And I don't know if that's in the past or the future or kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And bringing different animals, insects, that kind of thing to the planet. Okay, so then the planet was thriving in that way, and then the Lyran Wars, I believe, happened because these were not the reptilians. Trying to get that information.
reptilians always seem to be at the center of the problems.
Yeah, they like messing things up, don't they? Well, it was the Draco and the tall grays. Anyway, thousands and thousands of years ago, thousands of millions, millions of years ago, we coexisted in the Lyra system. We come from the Lyra system. The humanoids come from the Lyra system,
Yeah,
right? Um, and everything was hunky dory. And the Anunnaki actually owned a Stargate. It was their Stargate, from what I
yeah,
understand. And it's a very important Stargate because that Stargate uh, you can access the whole galaxy through that Stargate.
right.
Okay. Apparently, the Draco from their part of the from another galaxy was able to get through, hijack the Stargate and infiltrated the Lyran system.
Yep.
Yeah, started taking over planets and enslaving, and our human um, ancestors, humanoid ancestors, had to escape, and the Anunnaki as well, from what I understand. Okay. They came, they came to this um, galaxy, part of the galaxy, and I don't know my astronomy, but they came to our part of the galaxy and started colonizing the planets, the Pleiades, um,
Syria.
Sirius, yeah,
Yeah, a lot of
Sirius,
the Lyrans, when their planet was blown up, they came to Syria.
yeah,
That's why a
yeah,
lot of people have that Syria or Syrian connection,
right, right, right,
which is Egypt and the pyramids and all that too.
yeah, yeah, and also there was a planet called I believe it was Tiamat that was Earth-like but
Mm.
only
Yep.
larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, tropical planet, and we colonized that planet as well, from what I understand. Uh, that the Draco end up um, partnering with. They end up. I mean, they're like the Borg, basically. The Draco and the Zeta Reticuli in that system end up partnering up. I believe that they had already infiltrated that system as well and enslaved a lot of the Greys. Um, they come around to our neighborhood.
Come rolling through our neighborhood.
Yeah, and they partner up. They partner up, and they're taking over other planets and other star systems as best they can. Like they can. They're just like the Borg. That's what the who the Borg was.
Yeah.
Portrayed. They
Yeah.
portrayed the Borg as these beings, these hive-like beings.
And they're highly, highly intelligent and have massive. I mean, they have technology beyond anything we've even considered
Hmm.
at this point too, which
They're
is what
so
makes
ancient.
them
Yeah.
seem superior and what makes them think they're superior.
Right, and they're very telepathic. I understand that the Draco reptilians have intense telepathy, intense. And since they're um, mm, um, a regressive race, they can be very very violent with their
Well,
telepathy
and
as well.
that's what we're seeing now
Hmm.
is they're all about the mind control.
Yeah, both
And
of
that's
them
why they
together.
see us, yeah. And
Yes, and
that's
they.
why they see us as useless eaters
Uh-huh,
because they've been able to mind control us, but that's part of the awakening too.
right.
The woken one.
So the Anunnaki came here first and came here on this planet. There were the Enlil, and I'm going to get to Enki and Enlil, and then you tell your version, okay? So this
Yeah.
is what I
Yeah, we have
understand.
a little bit different version,
We
but
have
that's
different versions.
okay.
It is okay. Yeah. And you know what? Nobody has to believe any of us, right?
Mm-mm.
This is just in, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
when you're
you follow what resonates with you
right.
because that's part of being the one.
Yeah, and I
Right?
think it's important for us to understand that it's more than maybe what the Bible teaches us, that that the two brothers, I believe, are portrayed
Cain and
as
Abel.
Cain and Abel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I'm going to talk about the Bible too and Enlil here in a second, for what I understand. And so Enki and Enlil come to the planet to mine gold. They find out that this is a hotbed of gold, and they want gold. Gold is very very valuable. Well, there were indigenous peoples on the planet, um, that the cedars had placed on the planet, that we had placed on the planet. So the Anunnaki that Enki and Enlil brought with them rebelled and didn't want to work the mines anymore. So Enlil came up with the idea. Okay, well, let's use the indigenous people here as our laborers and mess with their DNA so that they don't fight back like our people did. Enki, who was the geneticist, or Ea, Earth was named apparently after Ea, the geneticist, the scientist. Um, Enki is a title, from what I understand, and his name was Ea, son of Anu. They're both sons of Anu, uh, and Ea, uh, he without his brother Enlil knowing, he changed the DNA, um, and also injected or included some of their DNA in our DNA so that we could grow, we could evolve, spiritually evolve,
Yeah.
because Ea didn't feel that it was right for us to not be able to spiritually evolve, to keep us as a slave race forever and ever and ever. So Enlil found out, and a war began between those two, between the two brothers, from what I understand. Um, Enki, Ea lost. Enki is, yeah, Enlil is the general. He's the aggressive one, like Cain and Abel kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and Enki lost, and he was banished from Earth and this part of the galaxy. Enlil, I mean, they own planets like we own plots of land.
Mhm. Yeah.
These
They come
huge,
in and stick a flag on it and say, "It's
yeah,
mine now."
and they own stargates like we own plots of land. Exactly. So, and this was thousands and thousands of years ago. Okay. So, and the reptilians came around. Enlil hooked up with the reptilians, the Draco, around that time, and it was around the time of Atlantis. It was during the time of Atlantis, around
Yeah.
that time. Okay, because we used to live thousands of years old, to
Yeah.
thousands of years, and then you'll notice. if you look over time after Enki left, and there was the Galactic Wars. I do remember fighting the Galactic Wars, the Lyran Wars, with the
Yeah.
yeah the
Yeah.
Draco. I do remember
Yeah.
that, and that's scary stuff. Uh, I was a Pleiadian. Well, at that time, I remember being a Pleiadian soldier. Um, that memory of it. So uh, the you can see our age span dwindling, and as Enlil messed with our DNA,
Yep.
little by little by little,
Yep.
and then he capped it at 120 years. So we have are waking up to all of this. So much information, so much is being uncovered about these beings, which we already know. They just opened up or found a new chamber and tunnel in the Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
They discovered it, which, who knows if they just discovered it or else they're just talking about it. And
You
also,
know.
yeah, a chamber is JP, the insider that Michael Sala talks to, came on and said that in the Grand Canyon, they just discovered new chambers in the
Yep.
Grand Canyon,
Yep.
okay, that have all kinds of crazy stuff in them.
Yep.
Yeah, and it brings me back
Technology, all kinds of stuff.
tablets, big gold tablets. You're Mormon. You
Yep.
remember Joseph Smith,
Yep.
the extraterrestrials and the gold tablets?
Yep.
Yeah,
Archangel Moroni, the extraterrestrial.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. So apparently that has been discovered. Uh, all kinds of weird things going on in the skies right now. So we're moving into that time where we're discovering our galactic heritage, and we've been lied to for so long. And that we do have 22 star seeds, star races within our DNA. And Enki, Ea, apparently, um, handed over. They arrested Enlil, the Galactic Federation of Worlds. What I understand, this is what I understand, okay? And it rings true to me, okay? Rings true to me. Doesn't mean it's true. It just rings true to me. Uh, has has the high councils, very very high councils over the Federation, have arrested Enlil and the head Sakaar, Draco, and also they killed the queen of the Gray Hive. They Yeah,
Now,
they were able.
is that recent
Yes, that was
stuff
last
that's
year.
going on? Oh,
Last year,
wow.
yeah. They've liberated the moon, they've liberated because those were slave camps, that Mars was slave camps,
Yep.
and they've liberated Mars, and pretty much have liberated our planet. It's just up to us to deal with our own, human minions kind of thing. But Enki, Ea, apparently has brought our original DNA, strands of DNA, to the Federation that was given to the High Council or the Cedars um, of our DNA, and handed it over because he said, "This is yours. It's not mine." Because he took it with him. It's not mine. Okay, and so we apparently in our hopefully lifetimes
Ooh,
will be um, uh,
giving back
returning
our
back
original
even
strands.
back to our original strands. Yeah, well, we will eventually be able to live thousands of years old again, and have avatar bodies and just move our consciousness from a body to a body if we, don't want to reincarnate. But we can move to another planet and reincarnate if we want. But I understand Earth is moving out of that, the
Yeah,
reincarnation cycle.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's what the whole New Earth thing is about.
Yeah. So that's kind of a disjointed an, an understanding of how I see it in a little tiny capsule.
Yeah, yeah, because it's huge. And that's very, very similar, with what I get from the Keylontic science teachings, and
Okay, okay.
that's very, very vast. The only difference really that I have is that Enki and Enlil both were party to things that they shouldn't have been doing. um, Enki has redeemed himself because he's come back and done like what you were talking about, where he turned it over. And when you were talking, Sharon, part of the reason I went, oh, I had a
Yeah,
convulsion
I saw that.
was I just heard in my head that that's part of what the med bed technology
Yes.
is is from what Enki gave back to the Federation, to the Guardians,
Hmm.
and that's part of what the medbed technology is, and that they're turning some of that back over. I also get that they've not been, because they've done a couple of good deeds, they still are not turned loose again. They're still under surveillance, and they're being kept in jail and kept under wraps for a long time because of the damage that they've done. Because they literally, the stargates that we're talking about, that they hijacked the stargates, they hijacked more than one,
You're
but the
talking. Are
main
you
one,
talking about the reptilians?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
the Dracos, and it was part of that they did is they hijacked that 11th Stargate. There was actually the Ascension Stargate, and they broke it. And when they did that, the whole system went into what we call a fallen state, right? Like the fallen races, the fallen
Mm,
angels, that whole thing. And it doesn't mean that all that are fallen are evil. They're not all Luciferian or satanic, but they have fallen into lower consciousness, and we're all working our way back up to that and reconnecting to who we truly are. And that's part of what this whole thing that we're living through right now, those of us that are here, like Sharon and I, who understand and who have received this message, these messages that we're sharing with you, that we have actually chosen to come down from those higher realms into these spaces to walk people back home. And
mhm,
so and part of my teaching is that we're the human angels, we're the angelics of the 15th, 14th, 13th dimension, who decided to do, like you're saying, avatar, come in here, Christ to the 12th dimension, Christ consciousness avatar, to bring that in here as the avatar. So we are really avatars, as we all are, in a
right.
sense.
Right.
But we've come here to receive this message, to be able to to be walking everybody home. And
Hmm.
it's really exciting. One of the things that's kind of frustrating is a lot of the really bad eggs, the really bad guys, what sometimes called the deep state, all this kind of stuff. That might get us a YouTube flash, but whatever. Um, we A lot of them have been removed, but there's still a lot of people that are still brainwashed by the teachings and everything, and we see that in a lot of these leaders who are going over the leadership we've given our permission to, and are
Hmm.
saying you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to eat crickets and you're going to own nothing to be happy and all that nonsense, who are still holding that, who are trying to maintain that connection to our minds, to still guide our minds and do that mind control thing. But we now don't have that heavy influence from the really bad actors, and so we're able to free our minds from it. And that's why it's so important right now that everybody be involved in doing meditation and working ascension work, and being aware that there is more. That's what awareness is, that's what awakening is, that's what ascension is coming into the realization that we're so much more than we've been told. And when we do that, we begin to break the illusion, we begin to break that mind control, we begin to release all that. And as we do that, we're then capable of beginning to really manifest and bring in this new earth that we all know exists. Because there are many of us, not only are we from the past, from a much more expanded place, but we're also from the future, because everywhere at one time, we're all one, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are talking about the 45th president, that he's a time traveler. He's time traveler. He knows what's going on. And I sat in meditation one time and I was like, he does know something because he's like always one step ahead of what's going on, right? And I'm not condoning one way or the other, but like to watch what he's doing, it's like, wow. He's like, okay, okay, bam, and then okay, okay, bam. And it's interesting because there's a lot of other things around him and his family that is about this future generation, and that's another thing that we can look at is there are parts of our consciousnesses that have come back from the future to
Oh
help
yeah.
as well. And so there's this multi-layer thing that we're able to embrace now when we begin to let go of time, when we begin to realize our origins, when we begin to realize that we've been under a mind control system for a very long time, but that's not who we are. It's
Hmm.
not who we are. And that's one of the big things that we need to awaken to is that we aren't who we've been told that we are. We're not a DNA created from monkeys. We are actually DNA that was created by vastly expansive, technological, wise beings. And there might have been a little monkey thrown in there, but I'm not claiming it.
Well, yeah,
Because
there's some.
that freaks me out.
Yeah, I showed you the star, what Elena and I the 22 cedar
Yeah,
star beans. There might be a monkey in there.
yeah. I think that there was one of those, and they used a few different things, and I understand why they would need to use something from the earth, but I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
interesting. Go ahead.
I would say yeah, it's the galactic history, and you did so well with that too, Sharon. Uh, you did that really really well.
Oh, thank you.
And it's important that we begin to learn our heritage. And I find it really interesting that just recently, like all these shows in the last 5 6 7 years have been using DNA to find our human lineages, and I can't wait until they begin to take that the next level and begin to find out about our extraterrestrial lineage and who we
Yeah.
really are. And ultimately, we all come from the same source, which is that which we call God, and
Hmm.
everything is infinite. I teach the some of the Kathara stuff and the expanded tree of life, which is the stargates and everything, where we're just one massive time matrix in the part of many, 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 many time matrices that we call, universes or whatever. And gosh, when you start thinking about how big it is and how vast it is and how we're part of it all, it's just awe-inspiring. And right now it's 4:44 here in
Of
Southern
course.
California. I love that. I love that. And it's
No,
really exciting. And part of the reason, Sharon and I wanted to share this with you guys for you guys to start getting excited too, right? Because it's there's so much more. There's so much more. And it's really, really exciting. Erlinda, good
Linda.
girl. Hi there.
Hi, Erlinda.
Good
Um,
morning.
no monkeys in our actually 24, not 22 is what she says, but no monkeys in our 24 ET races, ETs.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's a different. Um, so Barbie had a question about med beds, and I believe that what I understand is that they've been around, they've been with us for quite a while, and the medical beds is, and the military has been using them,
Yeah.
but it hasn't, the military industrial complex doesn't want to release it, and because that would bring the big pharma down to its knees. So, however, that's coming. And 45 was talking about vertical lift and vertical landing cars
Yeah.
in our near future. Um, yeah, flying cars. Uh, also, with the med beds, I was listening to a podcast the other day. Um, what's his name? Oh, shoot. Um, Patriot Street Fighter. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I haven't heard of him.
Anyway, he had a doctor on there. Um, and he has some really interesting guests. And she has clinics all over the nation.
Yeah.
Scott McKay, and she has clinics that use similar to medbed technology. It's holographic and it's light
Yeah.
infusion technology.
Yeah.
Uh, and she said that it's a really interesting interview. And I think she said she has 21 or 22 clinics that are opening all over the place as we
Mhm.
speak. So that is huge. It's just that you don't hear about it on mainstream news. And, you know,
Yeah.
that includes Fox, that includes all the, all the big ABC, NBC, MSN, or whatever. You don't hear about these things because they're owned by big pharma. That's my take on it.
Yeah. And still influenced by, what I call the dark overlords.
Big pharma. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah,
Part of it.
but that technology is coming, and that technology, well, it's here. It's not even coming, but it will be coming available, and I would say in the next 5 years, it
Yeah,
will
I agree.
definitely be available to you and me
Hmm.
and everyone, and what that's going to do is give us that opportunity now. I've had so many people with the work that I do, say, "Well, how do we ever get wise and find ourselves and all that with only 100 years?" It's not enough time. It's like it's not until we usually hit about 60 that we're like, oh yeah, you shake off the dumb 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s, you kind of crawl through figuring it all out. 60s is like, oh, I got a little wise on now,
Well,
and then
that's for women. That's the crone years. That's
it
the
is
best part. The age of wisdom. Yeah.
years of wisdom.
Hmm.
And then you start, everything, the telomeres start shrinking and we start going downhill. And, it's like, how are we ever going to truly become enlightened without that time? Well, that is definitely doing that too, because these med beds, they heal the telomeres, they heal the DNA, they activate the DNA so that we have more strands online. We can do that with consciousness work too, which is
Yeah.
some of the work that I do. Matter of fact, we're going to be doing some of that on Saturday. And but it's so important that we understand that we have that opportunity to be able to be doing that, and it does require consciousness. One thing about the med beds is you can get in that med bed and you can get healed with it, or the light infusion beds. But if
Hmm.
you're not consciously aligned with it, your body can't align with it, because consciousness is still guiding the physical body. And so you really need to be ready to release the old and release the programming and release all that, to get the most benefit from it. I mean, of course, it's going to help, but
And
it's
they can
kind of
even
like,
right. They can even regrow limbs.
yeah, they can regrow limbs. I mean, I'm so excited to think to have my back and my hips healed to be able to walk again freely. Oh my
Right.
God. I'm like,
I know, right?
everything I own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. We've had it for a long time. It's been uh, it's been kept from us, and also all the patents that have people have
Yeah,
died that have, you know, uh, tried to get patents on free energy and things like that, and things that would, you know, free us up. We don't have to depend
yeah,
on oil companies, gas companies, and electric companies. And I mean, Tesla invented all this stuff,
yeah,
and look what happened to him. So we've had it for a very long time. It's just been we've went backwards basically.
yeah,
So when you
yeah,
were talking about the mind control technology, what I understand is that, and I've always had a feeling about this, but I didn't quite understand it, is that the reason we were kicked off the moon, if we went, but the reason we were is because of the regressive ETs that had already, uh, you know, set up shop there, and they had technology pointed toward Earth. I mean, they
yeah,
to keep us in uh, pulsating lower frequency EMFs or
mhm,
whatever you want to call it at us to keep us in these lower frequencies,
yeah,
so that we couldn't go above. And also, uh, I'm not sure where it was from. Whether it was because they also liberated the moons around Saturn and the various
Yep,
moons that were slave camps too, okay?
yep,
Um, uh, there was technology in the inner rings of Saturn and on Saturn where, they were using it to, keep a net, keep this part of the galaxy and our planet too,
mhm,
and where they had where the Sakaar and the Nebu were, you know,
yep,
using it as slaves camps
yep.
and things like that. This part of the system.
And it's absolutely crazy to think that this has all been going on. But another thing that is really amazing is, in the late 1800s, if any of you have looked into all the information that's coming out about Tartaria and about the world fairs in the
Yes.
1800s and the mud floods. There was some kind of
Mhm,
reset that happened. But one of
mhm.
the things that somebody started realizing is all of the churches used to have bells, and not just churches, there used to be massive bells everywhere. And what it was doing, it was keeping the frequency high on this planet to counteract a lot of that net that we call it, that was the energy nets and the mind control nets to shift and change that to keep the frequency high. Atlantis, Lemuria used frequencies like that,
Right.
and we understand them as the solfeggio. The five.
Solfeggio, yeah, mhm.
Yeah, I never know how to say that word,
I'm either. Solfeggio,
and
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, and that was all taken down in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, to further lower the frequency on this planet. Also, they know that the pyramids in Egypt had great crystalline caps on the top of them that were able to bring in. That's why they all have big, vast, like pools of water underneath them, because they were holding these really high frequencies on this planet. And a lot of that has been curtailed, and that's why humanity,
They
was really,
decapped 'em.
they decapped them.
Mhm.
Yep, yep, and no
Yeah,
one knows where the caps are. I'm wondering where we're going to find them. I have a feeling that they're still here on the planet
yeah, I don't doubt it, buried somewhere.
in the Himalaya.
Also, what I understand about the cathedrals and the really the ancient or old, buildings like cathedrals and intricate,
Yes,
castles and things
architecture.
like that, architecture, how could we even ever build it back then when we didn't, we were building, mud huts and stuff. What I understand is those were, extraterrestrial, um, buildings or structures that were capacitors, and the spires, and you find them a lot, most of them, a lot of them next to water.
Yep,
So they would pump in water and use the spires to for electric, to send wavelengths or whatever it is for free energy for electricity, just what the same thing that Tesla
like Tesla
had
had.
invented. And that's what they were doing at the world fairs,
Yep,
right? Using
yep.
that energy,
Yeah, because
without.
they had those beautiful buildings that were lit up with
Yeah,
electricity
but
before they had
there
electricity,
was no electricity. I know, right?
and
Yeah.
we've had it for so long.
And then they were taken down. But you'll notice when you see those types of ancient buildings that were built, back then, and we've had so many resets, it's ridiculous.
I
But,
know.
yeah, how many times are we gonna have a do-over? Gosh. But, I feel like this is the one that we're not doing over. Um,
I think that's why there's a lot of us here who are like, "No, we're done.
yeah,
We're done with
well,
do-over. We're gonna do it right this time."
that's why we're here because 'cause we're doing it right. But yeah, I see those buildings that have the spire on it that are, next, a lot of them are next to water. You'll find that they're next to around water.
And
Re
just simple thing, they call it electroculture. I've been looking into this, where you take a wood dowel, you wrap it with copper, you leave a little antenna at the top, you stick it in your plant, the soil for your plants, and it brings in ether and all kinds of stuff out of the etheric into the plants, and these plants are growing like crazy. Don't
Nice.
have to use chemicals, don't have to do all this stuff. And that's another thing that they used to use to create enough food to feed the populace, right?
Yeah.
All that was taken out. Now you got to use chemicals and fertilizers and blah blah blah, and everything is just getting destroyed and voided of all nutrition and everything. And all, even those small little pieces of information and technology are coming back, and it's so exciting
It's exciting.
because there's hope.
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people that are just like, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous. And a lot of people really get freaked out about what, these elites that are standing up there going, "Dur, dur, dur, ba-dee, da, ka-dee, da, ba, da." They're like, oh my God. It's like, nah, that's not,
Yeah.
no.
It's distraction.
Yeah, pay no
It's
mind.
distraction.
Pay no mind. It's the leftover remnants of those Dracos and those ones who have been in power for a long time, and they're violent parasitic beings, but
Well,
there's been a
they're
lot of
very they're
progress.
what I
Yeah,
understand, and we know this, is these beings are very are masters of manipulation.
yeah,
They're masters of, what's the word I'm trying not only manipulation, but also, uh, making people, offering people things they want, knowing what your weakness, and then they got you, and
yeah,
so they create situations where these people are compromised, where people are
yep,
compromised, and money,
yeah,
money, money,
yep.
fame and
Well, and
fortune, fame and fortune.
and they've put this system in place where
Mhm.
they've convinced us if we just have this thing, then we'll be okay. If we just get this, we'll be okay. And if we just get money, we'll be okay. And if we have that house, we'll be good enough. And they've created this entire marketing system that feeds us constantly all day long, with commercials, right? TV programming, that we're not good enough. But if we just do this, if we just work harder, if we just try harder, if we just have this bill, if we just have this, and they have us, that's part of the mind control, right?
Right.
Is
Right.
that, and then the people that they have that are doing that, the entertainment, business especially, that
Yeah.
is here to distract us from the realities of who we truly are. They use a lot of that programming with. They're like, yeah, I'll make you a star, but you have to, allow your energies to be used in these ways, your focus to be used in these ways, and that's a whole other show.
And that's why I like to see that is a whole other show. That's why I like to look at everything that's going on as a movie. We're all
Mhm.
playing roles in the movie. Like Yeshua said, it's all an illusion anyway. But we have a role. We all have a role in this movie. All the world is a stage and we are merely players.
We are
Um,
merely players.
yeah. Now they're raising Miss Jewels says, now they're raising prices on everything and people are struggling to keep a roof over their heads and feed their family. Mhm.
But you know what's going to happen with that, Miss Jules? We are going to start taking care of each other again, because this is another thing that we as humans and individuals have gotten really far away from, is truly living as communities, truly living in tribal communities where we take care of each other. We've gotten very insulated. We live in our own houses with our walls in our own car on the road, and we don't take care of each other. And this is a blessing of what we're going through right now, is we're going to begin to take care of each other. When our neighbor loses their house, we're not going to let them, oh, I'm getting chills, we're not going to let them become homeless. We're going to take them in. We're going to love each other. We're going to start taking care of each other. This is part of what Jesus was talking about 2,000 years ago. Love one another. What he was telling us back then, it
Yeah.
applies to right now. We're going to have to start taking care of each other. We're going to have to start keeping our children home longer. Taking care of our elderly and not putting them into homes. We're going to have to start learning how to respect and be stewards of the land instead of using the land. We're going to have to learn how to become whole again in this way.
Remember. Yeah,
Listen.
remember. Mhm. Yeah.
And it's really, really important, because Ms. Jill follows that up, so much for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have an opportunity right now to have that in spades if we
Mhm.
will stop this process that we have been put on and told that we have to be. You'd be surprised if you've got a little plot of land, a little patio in your backyard, you could grow all the food you need for your family. It's just learning a little bit how to do it. When we start taking care of each other, we begin to grow community. That is true life and true liberty and true happiness.
Yeah.
Nothing out there is going to give it to us. We have to take charge of it. And that's what this time period is about. That's what this is about. That's what understanding this galactic history, understanding where we come from, who we are, understanding what's been being done to us, and stepping off this wheel of crazy and get back to loving each other and taking care of each other and stop hurting each other and stealing from each other and killing each other. There's a whole thing going on. But we, those of us with the presence of mind, that word just came into my head. The
Yeah.
presence of mind to not be a part of that and begin taking care of each other would be absolutely surprised how quickly that begins to spread. Because crime happens because people are poor and they're scared, right? Drugs, alcohol, abuse, everything.
So no
And
more breaking into stores, Michelle.
no more raping, no more
No more breaking.
pillaging.
No, 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 no.
Yep.
That's the Viking days. We're over those days
Yeah,
now.
those Vikings, I've got Viking blood. I got a lot of Scotsman in
Yeah,
me.
me
I know I
too.
got some Viking blood.
I remember being a Viking. Yeah, in a lifetime.
No.
But you want proof that the Matrix is falling?
Yes.
There are videos coming out, different areas, different places around the world of, I mean, I just saw them today, of birds being stuck in one place. Have you seen
Yep.
that? They've been
Yep.
coming out for a while now, being stuck, and now planes too,
Yep.
just stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, and not like it's in a wind tunnel or something like that where it's trying to fly. It's just
Yeah, no, it's the
stuck.
glitch.
Yeah, being glitched. Some say it's near a 5G tower and there's a time
Oh,
bubble or
that's
something,
interesting.
but who knows? But yeah. And now apparently videos coming out of seeing planes, small planes, being just stuck right there in the air, in the atmosphere. It,
And it
like
makes
a,
wonder. It's like, what's happening to the pilot? What's happening to the people on those planes? Are they all stuck in a limbo state? Or are they
hmm
all going, what's going on? What's going on? Like, are they in another dimension?
hmm
Have they shifted? Makes you wonder about that too.
right. Yeah.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
hmm
We now know that that is a portal.
Yeah.
It's a portal.
Right.
All those things that have disappeared. There've actually been some people who've come back through that portal who have said, we went to another place.
hmm
We went to another place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting about the a bird being stuck in the matrix. It makes me think, because I was thinking about it a little while ago, that do you ever wake up where if there makes J.R. Cone says, can you highlight the comment?
Yeah, she says it makes you wonder if there's any plane there at all.
Saying there at all, yeah. Yes. And y-
That's a really good point.
yeah. It do you ever wake up where you see like in the hypnagogic state, and this is for me all the time, where you see like a scene or faces or something, and then and it looks normal, like moving like we are, and then as you wake up it starts moving faster and faster and faster, and
Yeah,
you see the slides of it.
yeah, yeah,
That's what I'm thinking about the Matrix, um where this bird is like stuck on one screen, one slide
yeah,
of the Matrix or the plane or
yeah,
whatever, because it's falling. So what's going on in the Matrix, it's a glitch, yeah, but it's only one slide, like in a movie,
yeah,
because 'cause we're in a movie, and I told you I've
yeah. It's
seen
like
the
one.
grid. Yeah, like one frame.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We live in this highly. It's very very highly technological. This matrix that we're living in. It's
Sure,
technology that we don't understand
sure.
as humans, and so to see stuff like that, but it's so cool. And when we do that, we need to say, yeah, yes, cool, it's working.
So as the matrix is falling, it's being replaced. We're replacing it with our positive thoughts, with our
Mhm.
positive intentions, with our foreshadowing of higher planes, the fifth dimension, the fourth density, whatever you want to call it. Like you were talking about, Michelle, with going back to community and supporting each other. That's what we're creating as the old falls. The
Yeah,
newer higher frequency matrix is taking its place, replacing. So those slides are being replaced. The
absolutely.
matrix ran out of RAM, Miss Jewel says.
It
Yeah.
did. Sorry, random access memory denied. But we do, and we want to really be being conscious about what we're replacing this with too. And that's why there's so many of us that are here, who really have come through time and space to help bring this information to you. Sharon and I are those people. All of you guys that are watching this, whether you're here live with us or catch us later and listen, you're one of them. And for us to be able to share this and keep, the information flowing is so important. This year is going to be pivotal.
Yeah.
It already is pivotal. So much is changing, so much awakening happening, and it's super exciting.
Yeah. And, the way I think of it is, if we're in a low frequency, we're not actually replacing the matrix with low frequency because we're staying in the old matrix.
Yeah,
So it won't fall down around you if around us if we're still in the lower frequency of the 3D matrix.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it has to fall down around us as we move up in frequency.
yeah. And the thing is, when we hear that, it's our human nature to think, "Oh my God, it's collapsing. It's falling down around us," right? And we have mental and emotional triggers around that of, "Oh my God, end of the world." I mean, that's all programming. It's
Yeah.
all mind control.
Yeah.
And I really want to stress to you guys right now that all of that is not real. That we are, by our consciousness and by our understanding and by staying connected to each other and loving each other, we are creating that which is coming up underneath it that is going to be the better. But we have to be focusing on it. We have to be a part of that. We can't stand on the side and say, okay, well, you guys do it and I'll come on over when it's time. You send the car for me and I'll come to the new earth
Yeah. No,
frequency.
it's within us. It's within us because we're projecting our
Yeah,
matrix onto the grid, eh,
exactly.
just like the holodeck. And so that's exactly what it is. And so we're in this matrix of projection, and we come together and we're projecting all of this because we made an agreement to project this what we're doing now. We made that agreement as parts of the one, right? And so as we're projecting, um, what we have, our thoughts and our intentions in higher frequencies onto the matrix. That's how we build the new matrix.
Yep.
By the old matrix falling, it's falling within us.
Yeah. And
It's
it's dissolving.
it is. It's not correct that it's falling around us. We just see it as falling around us because we are projecting that.
Yeah.
It's actually falling away within us as we
And
do our work and as we stay out of fear and as we disconnect from, the illusion of being stuck in the time loop,
yeah.
time matrix, time loop, that kind of thing, and the fear matrix. So,
Yeah.
home,
And that's why
James.
home, James. And it's so important for us to really be careful about what we're putting into our minds and
Mhm.
and and being mindful of what we're thinking about too. And you're not expected to be 100%,
Only
either.
51% according to law of one that your
Yep.
mind is on
Yep. Yep.
service to others, and I
Yep.
don't think we have a problem with that in our circles, but yeah,
No. As long as you're in
in
service
our
to
world.
me, I'm okay.
You know,
All hail.
I believe I believe that most of the world, I'm going to say 90%. is,
Good people.
good people. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And way over 51% that their thoughts are on, service to others, meaning that, they're not constantly thinking about how I can get mine kind of thing, because that's what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what too, that's what, a lot of the Matrix wants us to think. They show us all the rapage and pillage, and the crime and all this stuff when you watch the news. There's no
Right.
good news on there.
Right.
It's
Very at the
like,
very end, for a 5 minute or
oh
2 minute
yeah, a
segment.
little girl saved a puppy from a raging gutter, you know,
Oh, that's so sweet. I love
so
those.
sweet. But
It is sweet.
we need everything to be that and not
Yeah.
be putting the energy and focus on the rapage and pillagers.
I know, right? But, the human condition, we've been programmed to be kind of addicted to it, and that was
Yeah,
one thing that
yeah,
Yeshua told me when I asked him, what are the
absolutely.
addictions that we have here? And he said, of course, it's alcohol, drugs, food, sex, um, uh, pleasure, um,
Yeah,
but and then he said violence, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Yeah.
It's all the same chemical release in the brain.
Mhm.
It's all
Yeah.
the same chemical release. So we're really addicted to the chemicals in
Yeah.
our body.
That
And
cause
that's why consciousness changes the chemical responses in the body. Meditation, prayer, keeping your mind on who you truly are as a sacred and holy being and not what you've been told you are. And a lot of that balances out those chemicals too, as well as all the basics, not eating fast food. Oh my gosh. I had, I was dying. I was out driving around and I saw a sign, Jack in the Box egg rolls. I went, God, that looks good. I was sick for 2 days.
I bet.
My whole
Ew.
body was like, on the inside. It's
Yeah.
like, what do
You're not
they
used to
put in
eating
that?
that? Yeah. I used to eat those tacos that when I'd, go to the bar and stop
Oh,
at Jack in the Box, the only place open late at night, and we'd get
right,
their tacos
yeah.
because 'cause they're nice and greasy, and bleh. But yeah.
It's like my whole body was humming for 2 days.
Ooh.
It's
Well,
like,
is
I
that
don't
why
know
you're
what.
sick?
No, no. I
Oh,
was having pain before that.
oh,
I didn't want to go home and cook something and I was hungry and I thought, oh, we'll just do a quick fix. How bad could they be? And I just felt like my entire body was like getting electrocuted for 2 days.
oh, wow.
Whatever that neurological will they put in there. God.
So, I think we have a question here. Do you wanna
What
highlight
is,
from J.R.
where
Cone?
are we? JR.
JR?
Do we, oh, here we go.
Highlight the
We're
inside bits
getting
of the sun.
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we're doing it.
Do you think we will be able to move from old guard to the new moment by moment?
Yep.
Yes, we
It's
are.
exactly what's
As
happening.
we speak.
Yep. Even right now,
As we
all of
speak.
us here doing this together, talking and loving on each other, that moment, and now this moment, and this moment by moment. JR, that is such a great question. And I'm so glad you asked that because that really is how it is, because this moment is the only one that matters. I mean, this one, or this one,
No, this
this
one.
one.
Wait, this one.
No, well, and this one. And it's so cool.
I know, isn't that funny?
It's so cool. And when we really, when we take the joy of what we're really going through and let go of all the other crap,
Mhm.
and move ourselves into this energy of the joy of creating the new and the power and the love and the beauty that we are. It's so awesome. And then we remind each other that's how we're going to get through. Yeah, Miss
W
Jules saying we're two or more gathered. Yep.
Yeah, yep,
There we are in our midst.
right? Uh, Barbie, can you highlight Barbie's comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all feel that way sometimes.
To me, it feels like 2 steps forward, then 1 step back.
Yeah.
Aw.
And that depends on what you're focusing on. Oftentimes those one step back,
Well,
what is that thing,
2 steps forward, 1 step back is not making progress. Oh, wait, yes, it is. I was thinking it was the other way around, sorry.
making
Okay.
progress, but by
I
way
thought you
yeah.
were doing 2 steps back and 1 step forward. Like, that's not making progress, that's going backwards. Okay, so at least you're making 1 step forward, okay.
Yeah. And it is, and a lot of times those one step back is allowing for something to clear so you can take two or three or four or five step forwards again too. We need to not get frustrated by those steps that feel like they're going back. Oftentimes they're really lateral steps, not back steps.
When you
And
think of yeah, when you think of life as a game, chess game, you know, there's one move and then a counter move and then another move and then a counter move and a counter move to that and a counter move to that. Um, and what's really interesting is in one of my out of body experiences recently when I was on the ship doing something on the ship, I was in a holodeck, and I'm not sure if I shared this or not, but and I was practicing martial arts with some others. Yeah, and it was jujitsu. And I
oh,
don't know what
cool.
jujitsu is, but I knew that it was jujitsu. And then the next day or a day after, I heard someone talking about jujitsu and how it's the technique of using your opponent's um,
The
energy.
dark overlords are on ship.
There they are.
Abandoned ship. Abandoned ship.
I'm glad you bring Mikey on your ship.
Yeah.
The Dark
I gotta
Overlords.
feed them and stuff, so
Yeah, well, yeah. So anyway, it's the art of using your opponent's energy um,
mhm.
toward against them, I guess you
Yeah,
could say.
yeah,
Yeah, using that. So you're not using your energy, you're using your opponent's energy.
yeah.
That's kind of how I see because we are in a war with dark and light. We're trying to put things back to balance, right? And get out of underneath them, this darkness we've been placed under. But uh, so if we pay attention to, am I interrupting something over there? Okay.
He's taking command of the computer now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's choosing what is gonna go
Is
up
he
on the
gonna
screen.
mute me here in a second? Or
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
but the way I see it is if we anything that comes at us, whatever it is that knocks us off balance, we can use that
Mhm.
to our advantage. That's
Yeah.
where we can grow and where we can see that as an opportunity
And also,
to
it's
grow.
part of what we're doing right now when we're keeping our mind on the positive and the new earth and the love and the peace and the harmony and the truth of who we are. When we have our opponents pushing on us and those that want us to believe in certain ways and do this and you got to be that. And we're like, oh, okay, down they go, right? That's
Mhm.
the whole jujitsu thing. Here, you need these drugs. You got to buy this house. You need to listen to this music. And just it just shoved down our throats. And we're like, I'm going to meditate instead.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. And it's funny you say that. I was thinking about that yesterday, Sharon, about using the opponent's forward motion
Yeah.
as part of the act of change and shifting.
Yeah.
So,
I like what JR says here,
yeah.
that one step back happens divinely in order to progress double the amount of steps forward. There's no bad or good in it because it's all okay. Yes, totally.
Yep.
It's
And,
all good.
yeah. And when we can allow ourselves to be in that space and to gracefully accept and instead of resist those times when we feel like we're going backwards or even lateral, not moving, and just melt into it and not be in resistance. When we're out of resistance,
Right.
there's everything's in alignment.
Yeah.
It's when we're resisting that things aren't working right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when we feel bad. Yeah, totally. Um, and that's when we're in the flow of life And if a challenge comes along, we use that as an opportunity, like JR says, use it as an opportunity to grow and understand it. Okay, well, what's going on here? I can use this as an opportunity to learn and move forward. It's not going to set me back, because I'm not going to let it, right? And this too
Exactly.
shall pass. Um, and that's when we stay in the flow. And that's
Right.
when we are able to connect to our galactic heritage, the divine star being we are, angelic star beings that we are. And we move um, further and further inward instead of, we say up, 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 but we're actually moving inward,
Yeah.
moving further and further inward to our divine self. And that's where we can integrate. And then we integrate all these divine parts of us, these galactic parts of us and angelic parts of us that we've been haven't been able to remember, had our wings cut off kind of thing. And yeah, it's
It
exciting.
it is. It's so exciting. And it's so fun because more and more people are talking about it and sharing it and different kind of points of view and different ways of putting it. Because it's so abstract to our linear minds right now still. To try to understand this. And also, we're programmed that we need to understand it here, where really a lot of all this work is really in the heart. But when you hear it put and said in different ways, in different words, in different perspectives, it begins to give it a fuller, expression, and more people are able to move into that too. So it's super fun. It's super fun, and it's
Hmm.
all supposed to be fun. That's the other part. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And and challenges help us grow and help us learn. And we'd be kind of boring if we weren't learning and growing. Life would be boring.
I'm having the other matrix trying to bleed through here.
Oh, yeah, you've got your crown on there.
I
Yeah.
do
Oh,
my
I see
crown
on
here.
the right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I got the crown going over here, and I've got all my mandalas I painted over here coming through. It's kind of
So you're glitching your matrix. You're moving through a portal there, or a stargate, and you're just
so.
you're holding your frequency here for the show, and you're like, okay, as soon as the show's over, I'm through the stargate, through the portal. Well, thank you for
Super
holding that
cool.
frequency for us, Michelle.
Thank you. And it's interesting when we're talking about the fields and the matrices, this cool background, not our spaceships, but the bigger background with that undulating field of the matrixy looking thing. It's kind of cool. And I was just thinking about this when you're talking about impressing, the energy on the matrix. It's like we're impressing on this undulating field of morphogenic creative energy, and that's what we're doing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
cool.
that is what we're doing, right?
It's so
So
cool, and
Miss
we're
Jewel
doing it
says,
right
"1
now.
foot in each world." Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I know how that is. Phew.
talk about it. Any of us that do any kind of energy work, any kind of intuitive work, any kind of meditation, anything where you're taking yourself, lucid dreaming, even dreaming itself. We have 1 foot in a whole bunch of worlds, actually.
Yeah, we kinda die a little bit each night, don't we? As we move into our nighttime travels. I hesitate to call it dreams anymore because that sounds like it's hallucination, but it's not. It's
This
just as
is the
real, if not,
hallucination.
this is the hallucination. I was just say it's more real than here, just as real or
Yeah.
more real. I mean, it's still a dream world. I mean, this is a dream world, and that's what Yeshua says. Have I read this page? The first page of the Way of Mastery. Um,
No, but if you have, let's hear it again. I
okay,
got to get these
find
books.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
this is a okay. He says, "I promise you this: If you become wholly committed to awakening from the dream you have dreamt since the stars first began to appear in the heavens, and if your one desire is to be only what God created, then lay at the altar of your heart with every breath everything you think you know, everything you think you need, and look lovingly upon every place that fear has made a home in your mind and allow correction to come.
Whoa.
That's just one sentence. He says, it will come.
Whoa.
I know, right?
And it's
Regardless, go ahead.
I see, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
Whoa.
Regardless of how you experience it, it will come. And the day and the moment will arise, and all of your pain and fear and suffering will have vanished like a wind that pushes the foam of the wave away,
Mm.
revealing the clarity of the ocean beneath you. You will literally feel throughout your being that there never was a dream. Some memories might remain with you, and you will know that somewhere you must have dreamt a dream or had a thought of wondering what it would be like to be other than the way God created you, but it will be such a faint echo that it will leave no trace upon you. In your heart, you will smile gently, regardless of the circumstances in which you find yourself. There will be peace from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, and that peace will walk before you wherever you go. It will enter a room before you enter it with a body, and those who are becoming sensitive will wonder who has come into their place. And some will even say, behold, I believe Christ has come for dinner. And you will be that one, for that is who you are, Christ eternal, Yeshua.
Wow. Okay, what is the name of that book? Because I'm going to put it in our chat because I keep forgetting. Whoop, can't see it in your matrix.
The way of mastery.
By,
It's
remember, it was a weird name.
it's Shanti Christo Foundation. And it's 3 books: The Way of the Heart, The Way of Transformation,
Wait a
The
minute,
Way of
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Knowing. Okay, sorry.
The way of the heart and
The Way of Transformation, The Way of Knowing.
okay, so that's four.
It's 3 in 1.
Okay, so the book is The Way of
The
Mastery,
Way of Mastery.
and this
Yeah,
Way of Heart, The Way of Transformation, and The Way
of
of
knowing.
Knowing. And
Yeah.
then is there a second book over there that you're using too? Was
Um,
there two books that were a part of this whole thing?
yeah, I'm reading the Yeshua letters, which is the first of the writings, and it tells the story of how he came to communicate with Yeshua, and this
Oh,
is the prelude to the Way of Mastery.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to get that in there. I have a feeling some of these people that are going to see this later too are going to be interested in that. So I thought I'd put that in there.
yeah, yeah. It's from
I'll
the
try to
mouths
put
of
it in the
babes.
body too, because those are really important books.
Yes, Barbie says, "Oh, I know." It's and did I tell you how I found out about them? I may have,
No,
but you probably don't remember, or you may not. Okay. I've just known about it for the last month or 2, and I did a reading, a referral for, a family who, lost their son, to suicide.
oh,
Yeah, young man, his name is Grayson, and he came strong and clear through the reading, and, he stayed with me afterwards and told me that he's gonna work with me with other families that have lost children to suicide, because
nice.
that's the kind of work he's doing on the other side, and I actually met him in an out-of-body experience. He came to me in an out-of-body experience, and I was able to relay that message to the family, for the 2nd session we did together, and,
Wow.
so he resonated with with me as working with his family, and which is an honor, of course, always. And so, and and so, he, I was made aware uh, of this book, the Yeshua Letters, and then the Way of Mastery through a video. Okay. And I wouldn't normally watch these videos, but I watched it. This guy had an NDE, okay, and he became aware of the actually not an NDE, a transformative experience, okay, after reading the Yeshua letters, okay.
Oh, wow.
So the next week, I had another session with the family, and the dad says, Grace, and he talks to Grayson. He says, Grayson guided me to get this book.
I love it.
And he studies the book with his son. He said when Grayson comes to him, he has Yeshua with him. He says I can't tell the difference between the two,
Yeah,
and that's why he brought that, because it's the way of walking in our Christ itself.
yeah.
But he knows it's his son, but he can't tell the difference because they're, yeah.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Because I
Yeah.
can feel every time you talk about that book, I feel it. And I was even feeling Grayson and Jesus, like it was like you couldn't tell the difference right before you had said that too. It
Right.
was like, wow. And and it's not about for people that are saying, "Oh yeah, but I could never do that." You already are that.
Mhm.
You already are the Christ. That's a big message that's being brought in this show. You already are. It's letting go of all the programming that says you haven't been. You don't have to attain anything.
Yeah.
Already are.
Yes, exactly.
It's deprogramming from the matrix, from that
Good stuff.
undulating thing behind us.
Right? Yes. Deprogramming, deconstructing the matrix and building a new one. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing as we speak, building the new one. Um, Before we end, I just wanted to tell you that and again, I may have shared this, I don't know, but during a psilocybin ceremony, going back full circle, sort of, I saw my own matrix. I could see the matrix of the room. I saw my own
Ooh.
matrix. As I was breathing, I saw it, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Beautiful colors, bright, beautiful colors. I could see it undulating as I took a breath. I could see it move
Wow.
in and move out with my breath.
Wow.
It was amazing. Mhm.
I remember when my clairvoyance was first opening up, I was really big, doing a ton of Reiki healing, and I started being able to see the matrices around people.
Mm,
And I saw red, green, blue, and gold
mm,
were the colors that I saw. Now, I don't know if it was mostly around people, but it was these grids. And
mhm.
some of them were lined up, some of them were not. And then my fingers started moving and it started lining all these grids up and I was like, what the hell is going on? Right. And my fingers would like, oh, and it was like, oh my gosh. And it was so amazing.
Wow.
Um, it was really, really powerful. And then when I started doing more light language, this whole thing kind of started calming down and it began to be the frequencies coming through the voice. But
Mhm.
this still happens sometimes. Sometimes you'll be talking and I'll be like,
Yeah.
it's like,
I
what's
do that with
happening here?
yeah, I do that with my hands too. I
I
work
used to
with
do that
my
when I was a little
yeah,
girl too.
yeah.
Like I would just kind of, and my mom would be, put your hands down. And then they'd be like, put your hands down.
When I channel, they channel through me and move my hands around to
Mhm.
adjust my energy field, my
Yep.
matrix, my chakras, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of times when people are upset, they flap their hands
Mhm.
and it's releasing energy
It's
too.
releasing. When I
Mhm.
hurt myself, I flap my hands. I go like
Yep.
that. Yeah, to release the energy.
Yeah. It's cool. These little things are magical little creatures.
Yes. Good stuff.
Very cool, guys. It's been
Yes.
a great show. Thank you, everybody who's been here. This is super good. I love this. This is information that's so important.
Yeah.
And It's an honor to be here with you, Sharon, and to be
Same here,
doing this
Michelle.
together again.
Yeah, good
Saving
stuff.
worlds. Yeah.
We're at it again.
Here we are.
Just what we do, just what all of us here does. That's what we
Yep.
do. We that's how I see us. We're planet hoppers helping save the world, save humanity, or save the peoples on the world. I've had dreams, I've had my experiences, what I would call travels, where I'm on different worlds, helping the people, helping the beings on the worlds, on
Yep.
those worlds, and everyone here does the same thing.
Yep. We all do. I know I had have a lot of dreams of helping the people on Jupiter. And we
Mm,
were talking about that too. And
mhm.
I also had a dream slash memory of blowing up a planet. I
Ooh,
was trying to fix something and I got everybody off the planet and there were a few people there with me and I was going to fix the thing and in my dream it was putting two wires together, right? But it was this great big huge machine, right? That was holding the planet together and it was getting ready to blow up. And I was like, "Oh, I know how to fix it. I can do that." We got everybody off the planet and I went, "We just need to put these wires together." And kablam. It was like,
dang.
"Oops."
That was yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
whoopsie.
Yeah, I think there might be a little karma I'm still clearing up on that. That might be why they're like, Michelle, we got another universe to clear and you know, you're going down and you're not getting paid. So
Yeah,
get on it.
you're not getting paid.
You're still paying the karma for that last skit you did.
I know, right? Oh, thanks, Miss Jules. Yes, don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up if you like our
Oh, thank you, honey. Thank
discussion. Thank
you.
you, everyone. Thanks for being here. You
Hey,
too have a
Vic.
beautiful night. This is Sunshine. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you guys. We're so happy to see you here to share with you. And then next week, I think we're going to do little readings, huh?
Yes, is that next week? Okay,
Yeah. So next
awesome.
week we'll give you guys some info. So
We'll
I
let
don't know
hey, how about if we let the audience do readings
for us.
for us, for the audience, for whoever.
You guys bring your cards.
Oh,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
Diane.
Diane.
Thanks, Diane. We'll see you later.
Very
I'm gonna see
cool.
Diane, next month before she moves to New York.
Ooh, nice.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
your name, Diane. That's so cool. I'm not even going to try it. I'm not that Italian. Trapecio. Oh, Trapecio.
Trapezione.
Trapezion. Wow,
Trapezione.
what a great name.
I just know her as Diane Dean, so haven't even tried to say her last name. I'll I'll ask her to pronounce it when I see her.
You know, there's
April
something
1st, that's
about
right.
there's something about Italian names that have such power and such just boom. You
That
know,
would be
I just
Diane.
love them so good. I love it. Yay! Thanks for being here, Diane, and to all of you, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I so appreciate it. Trip,
Trepiccioni.
Trepicho, Trep,
Trepiccioni.
Trepiccioni. Of
Trepiccioni.
course it is, because we had
Trepiccioni. Trepiccioni.
Ricardis in our family, and it was the CHIAIRELZXOPD, and it was
Wow.
party. What's with all the extra letters?
You know those Italians.
They love them
They're
letters.
overachievers.
That's why they're so powerful. Oh, so cool. Hey, everybody. Thank you.
All right, yes.
Sharon, thank you. We love you guys.
Bye.
And remember, stay sparkly.